Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the International Space Station's new quantum communications lab, staring at the unfamiliar signal patterns dancing across her holographic display. After 15 years of silence from the depths of space, this was the last thing she'd expected during her routine communications check. "Dr. Roberts, you need to see this," she called out, her voice steadied despite her racing heart. The aging physicist shuffled over from his workstation, coffee mug in hand, his eyes widening as he recognized the distinctive quantum signature. "It's from the Nalari," he whispered, nearly dropping his mug. "But why now?" "They haven't contacted us since they helped us develop our quantum drive prototype." The Nalari had appeared 7 years ago, making first contact with humanity when they detected early quantum experimentation from Earth's research facilities. They were peaceful explorers who saw potential in humanity's nascent quantum technology program. After helping Earth develop its first functional, faster-than-light communication system, they had vanished back into the stars, leaving humanity to develop on its own. Sarah's fingers flew across the holographic interface, decoding the quantum-encrypted message. As the translation materialized before them, her blood ran cold. "URGENT to Earth Defense Command. Our civilization faces extinction. The Dominion has declared our assistance to Earth a violation of their technological development protocols. Their warfleets approach our homeworld. We request aid from those we once helped. The Nylari remember Earth's promise." Dr. Roberts slumped into a nearby chair. "The Dominion. They're the ones the Nylari warned us about, aren't they? The species collective that controls most of known space." Sarah nodded grimly. "They believe advanced technology should be earned, not shared. They see the Nylari as traitors for helping us develop quantum tech." She straightened her uniform. "And now they're going to pay the price for their kindness." Within hours, the message had been relayed to Earth Defense Command. Sarah found herself transported to the underground command center beneath Geneva, standing before the hastily assembled Emergency Response Council. The room was thick with tension as military officers and civilian leaders argued about their options. "We can't possibly stand against the Dominion." General Santos slammed his fist on the table. "We barely have a dozen ships with quantum drives, and most of those are research vessels. The Nylari themselves said the Dominion controls thousands of worlds. So we abandon the only alien race that's ever shown us kindness." Dr. Emma Patel, lead researcher of the Quantum Integration Project, stood up. "They gave us the key to the stars, trusted us when no one else would. And now we just watch them die." Sarah cleared her throat. All eyes turned to her. "Permission to speak freely?" The council chairman nodded. "The Dominion expects us to be primitive, helpless. They think quantum technology is beyond our understanding." A slight smile crossed her face. "But they don't know what we've done with it." She gestured, and a hologram appeared above the table, schematics for Project Prometheus, Earth's classified quantum weapon development program. The room fell silent. "The Nylari gave us the basics of quantum drive technology. But humanity, we took it in directions they never imagined." The schematics rotated, showing experimental weapon systems that merged quantum mechanics with human ingenuity. "We've developed quantum shields that can redirect energy attacks, quantum torpedoes that can bypass standard defenses, things even the Nylari haven't achieved. Because we had to," she continued. "We knew we were small, weak compared to what was out there. So we got creative, did things with quantum tech that the Dominion would consider impossible or insane." General Santos leaned forward. "Even with these advances, we'd be vastly outnumbered." "True," Sarah nodded. "But the Dominion doesn't know what we're capable of. They expect us to cower, to abandon our allies." Her eyes swept the room. "Instead, let's show them why it's a bad idea to underestimate human ingenuity." The council chambers erupted in debate, but Sarah could see it in their eyes, the shift from fear to determination. Humanity had spent its entire history fighting against overwhelming odds. Now they would do it among the stars. Within days, Earth's small but specialized fleet was preparing for departure. Sarah stood on the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, Earth's first purpose-built quantum warship, watching this crew's loaded experimental weapons and modified shields. They were about to wage war against the most powerful civilization in known space, using technology that broke every rule in the book. As the fleet prepared to make its first quantum jump, Sarah sent a message back to the Nilari. Help is coming. Humanity remembers its friends. The Dominion thought they were dealing with primitive savages who couldn't possibly fight back. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology. It was in their absolute refusal to accept impossible odds. As the quantum drives spun up, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Sometimes the most dangerous opponent wasn't the one with the most advanced technology. It was the one with nothing to lose and everything to prove. The stars blurred as the fleet jumped into quantum space. The warning had been received. Now it was time for humanity's response. The quantum wake turbulence hadn't even settled when the EDS Prometheus dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Nilari system. Captain Sarah Chin's breath caught in her throat at the sight before her. The Dominion's war fleet hung in high orbit around the Nilari homeworld. Massive vessels that dwarfed Earth's small task force. Tactical analysis, she ordered, keeping her voice steady despite the odds facing them. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez's fingers danced across her console. I count 37 capital ships, each roughly 5 times our size. Energy readings are off the charts. Their shields alone could probably absorb everything we could throw at them. Conventional weapons, maybe, Sarah replied. She opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, implement Protocol Omega. Time to show them what human ingenuity looks like. Across Earth's small fleet, crews began activating systems that would have made any traditional military tactician scratch their head in confusion. The EDS Prometheus and her sister ships had been retrofitted with technology that merged quantum mechanics with distinctly human innovations. They're hailing us, Rodriguez reported. Audio only. Put it through. A cold, artificial-sounding voice filled the bridge. Primitive vessels, you have entered restricted space. Your presence here violates Dominion law. Retreat immediately or face annihilation. Sarah smiled. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth defense ship Prometheus. We're here to protect our allies. And we're not as primitive as you think. She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. Launch the quantum mines. From the holds of Earth's ships emerged what looked like ordinary space debris. Fragments of metal, old satellite parts, even pieces of what appeared to be space junk. The Dominion ships ignored them, their sensors dismissing the objects as trash. That was their first mistake. Quantum entanglement field active, Dr. Emma Potol reported from her science station. The mines are synchronized and ready. Sarah nodded. Begin Phase 1. The seemingly harmless debris suddenly pulsed with energy. Each piece was actually a sophisticated quantum device, designed to create localized fields of altered spacetime. The Dominion's mighty shields, calibrated to stop energy weapons and physical projectiles, were useless against weapons that literally bent reality around them. Alarms blared across the Dominion fleet as their ships began experiencing critical system failures. Their quantum drives, caught in the altered space-time fields, started to desynchronize. Shields flickered as power systems struggled to compensate for physics that no longer worked quite the way they should. They're launching fighters, Rodriguez reported. Hundreds of them. Perfect. Sarah's grin turned predatory. Deploy the converter drones. Another uniquely human innovation emerged from Earth's ships. Small, unmanned craft that looked more like maintenance bots than weapons of war. The Dominion fighters streaked toward them, energy weapons blazing. But these drones had been built by a species that had spent centuries learning to turn their enemy's strength against them. As the Dominion's energy weapons struck, the drones' quantum fields didn't try to block the attacks. They absorbed them, converted the energy, and sent it right back. Dominion fighters began exploding as their own weapon fire was redirected back at them. amplified by quantum mechanics that humans had twisted in ways their creators never imagined. "Ma'am, the largest Dominion ship is powering up its main weapon," Rodriguez warned. "Energy readings are massive." "Exactly what we were hoping for," Sarah replied. "All ships, execute maneuver Tesla." Earth's fleet moved in perfect synchronization, taking positions that seemed random to outside observers. As the Dominion flagship's weapon reached full power, Sarah gave the order. "Activate the quantum web." The space between Earth's ships suddenly lit up with connecting lines of energy, a web of quantum-entangled particles that linked their ships together. When the Dominion flagship fired its devastating weapon, the quantum web caught the energy, channeled it through the connected ships, and amplified it using the same principles as the fighter drones. The redirected blast struck the Dominion flagship with its own power, multiplied by quantum mechanics that humans had rewritten to suit their needs. The massive ship shields collapsed under the impossible assault. "Message from the Nalari," Rodriguez announced. "Their planetary defense systems are back online. They're offering to coordinate their fire with ours." Sarah nodded. "Tell them we'd be honored to fight alongside them, and inform the Dominion that this is just a small demonstration of what happens when you underestimate humanity." The battle was far from over, but the Dominion had just learned a crucial lesson. They had expected to find primitive savages playing with technology they didn't understand. Instead, they found a species that had taken that technology and transformed it into something even its creators hadn't thought possible. As the next wave of Dominion ships moved to attack, Sarah watched her crew work with practiced precision. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy with centuries more experience in space warfare. But humanity had spent its entire existence learning to overcome impossible odds through creativity, determination, and the absolute refusal to accept defeat. The Dominion was about to learn why that was a very dangerous combination. The bridge of the Dominion command ship, Eternal Dominance, was utterly silent as Supreme Commander Vex Thor watched the battle recordings for the third time. His chitinous hands clenched the armrests of his command chair as he observed these supposedly primitive humans turn his fleet's own weapons against them. "Impossible," he muttered, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Their level of quantum manipulation shouldn't be achievable with their current technology base." His science officer, Ren Tai, stepped forward. "Supreme Commander, we've completed our analysis of their defensive systems. It appears the humans have developed something unprecedented." On the main screen, detailed scans of the Earth vessels appeared. But instead of showing the expected energy shields, the data revealed something that made even Vex Thor's crystalline eyes widen in disbelief. Back on the EDS Prometheus, Captain Sarah Chen was reviewing the damage reports when Dr. Emma Patel burst onto the bridge, her usual composed demeanor replaced with barely contained excitement. "They've noticed," Emma announced, pulling up data on the main display. "The Dominion sensors are specifically targeting our quantum lattice shields. They know." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The quantum lattice shield system had been humanity's most closely guarded secret, a defense mechanism that didn't just block attacks, but fundamentally altered the nature of incoming energy and matter. "Send word to the fleet," Sarah ordered. "Authorization to deploy full quantum lattice capabilities. Let's show them what these shields can really do." Across Earth's small but determined fleet, crews activated systems that had remained dormant until now. The space around each human ship began to shimmer with a faint honeycomb pattern, the visible manifestation of quantum fields so complex they bordered on the impossible. "Dominion fleet is powering up weapons," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. "They're targeting the Prometheus specifically. Energy readings suggest they're throwing everything they have at us." Sarah straightened in her command chair. "Perfect. Emma, is the lattice ready for a full demonstration?" "Quantum fields are aligned and primed," Emma confirmed, her fingers dancing across her console. "Ready to receive their attack and repurpose it." The Dominion fleet opened fire, their most powerful weapons unleashing a barrage that should have vaporized the human ships instantly. Instead, as the energy struck the quantum lattice shields, something extraordinary happened. The honeycomb pattern around Earth's ships flared brilliantly, each hexagonal section capturing and redirecting the incoming energy. But instead of simply deflecting the attack, the quantum lattice began to transform it. Energy conversion at 90%. Emma reported, her voice tight with concentration. Redirecting power to the manufacturing systems. This was the true genius of humanity's quantum lattice technology. Where traditional shields simply blocked attacks, the lattice captured enemy fire and converted it into raw materials and energy. The more the Dominion attacked, the more resources they unknowingly provided to their opponents. On the Eternal Dominance, alarms blared as their sensors detected something unprecedented. The human ships weren't just surviving the assault, they were using it to create something. Supreme Commander, Rente's voice cracked with disbelief. The humans, they're using our weapon energy to manufacture more quantum mines. Vexthor's command chair creaked under his grip. These primitives hadn't just developed advanced shields, they'd created a defense system that turned attacks into resources. It violated every principle of warfare the Dominion had established over millennia. Sarah watched with satisfaction as the newly created quantum mines deployed from her ships, adding to their arsenal. "Send a message to the Dominion flagship," she ordered. "Tell them this is just one example of how humanity has improved upon quantum technology. We can either continue this demonstration, or they can open a dialogue." The response came quickly. The Dominion fleet ceased fire, their weapons powering down as Vexthor's voice filled the Prometheus's bridge. "Captain Chen." The Supreme Commander's tone carried a note of respect that hadn't been there before. "Perhaps we should discuss terms." "A wise choice," Sarah replied. "But understand this. Any agreement must guarantee the safety of both Earth and the Nilari. We protect our friends." As negotiations began, Sarah reflected on how far humanity had come. The Dominion had expected to find simple copycats, primitives playing with borrowed technology. Instead, they found innovators who had taken that technology and transformed it into something even its original creators hadn't imagined possible. The quantum lattice shields were proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their ability to use advanced technology. It was in their talent for reimagining what that technology could become. Emma walked over to Sarah's chair, speaking quietly. "The Dominion scientists are practically begging to study our lattice design. Should we tell them about the other quantum systems we've developed?" Sarah smiled. "Not yet. Sometimes the best advantage is letting them wonder what else we might have hidden away." She looked out at the stars, where the mighty Dominion fleet now waited cautiously. After all, humanity's greatest discoveries usually come when someone tells us something is impossible. The conference room aboard the EDS Prometheus had never been so crowded or so diverse. Captain Sarah Chen looked around the table at the assembled representatives of species the Dominion had dismissed as primitive or unworthy. Each had their own story of oppression, their own reason to fight back. The Nilari ambassador, Tellar, sat to her right, his crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns that conveyed his excitement. Next to him was Kazoth of the Viraki, a species whose biological technology had been deemed too dangerous by the Dominion. Their living ships, grown rather than built, were considered an abomination by traditional spacefaring races. The Dominion's retreat from Nilari space proves what we've long suspected. Kazoth's translator rendered his complex biochemical signals into speech. "They aren't invincible. They can be fought. They can be beaten." Across the table, Commander Ix of the Genri ducked her serpentine head in agreement. The Genri had been confined to their home system for centuries, their mastery of gravitational manipulation labeled as unstable by Dominion scientists. "But we must strike carefully," she cautioned. "The Dominion still commands vast resources. Resources mean nothing without innovation," Dr. Emma Patel interjected, pulling up a holographic display. "Look at what we've already accomplished by combining our technologies. Human quantum manipulation, Viraki biotech, genre gravity control, each powerful alone, but together. The display showed their latest joint project, a quantum organic hybrid ship that could alter its own mass and spatial properties. It was the kind of technological integration the Dominion had always forbidden, claiming it would lead to disaster. Instead, it had created something revolutionary. The Dominion's power comes from control, Sarah said, standing to address the group. They decide who gets to advance, who has to stay primitive. They enforce technological segregation because they fear what different species might achieve together. She gestured to the assembled representatives. Look at us. They called the Veraki savages for growing their ships instead of building them. They locked away the genre for daring to manipulate gravity itself. They tried to keep humanity primitive, afraid of what we'd do with quantum technology. A harsh laugh came from the corner where Rax, the exile from the cybernetic Kith collective, interfaced with the ship's systems. The Kith had been banned from expanding their neural network beyond their home planet, the Dominion fearing their ability to merge organic and digital consciousness. They fear what they cannot control, Rax's synthetic voice hummed. And they cannot control cooperation. Sarah nodded. Exactly. The Dominion enforces artificial limitations, keeping species isolated, preventing technological collaboration. But look what happened when the Nylari defied them and shared quantum tech with humanity. The hologram shifted to show the quantum lattice shields, now enhanced with Veraki bioorganic components that could adapt to different types of attacks. Genre gravity manipulation made them even more efficient, while Kith processing cores allowed for microsecond adjustments. We didn't just improve the technology, Emma explained, her eyes bright with excitement. We created something entirely new by combining our different approaches. The Dominion never imagined this was possible because they never allowed anyone to try. Tellar's crystalline form pulsed with agreement. The humans have shown us that true advancement comes not from following established paths, but from forging new ones together. Which is why we're here, Sarah continued. The Dominion is vulnerable not because we matched their technology, but because we've developed in ways they never expected. Each of your species has done the same, finding unique solutions to universal problems. She pulled up a new display showing the combined fleet they'd assembled. Human ships with their quantum innovations, Veraki biological cruisers that could heal and adapt, genre vessels that manipulated gravity itself, Kith ships with hybrid consciousness, each different, each powerful in its own way. Apart, we were easy to dismiss, easy to control, but together. Sarah smiled. Together, we're something the Dominion has never faced, an alliance of outcasts who've turned their limitations into strengths. Commander Ix raised her head. The Dominion calls us primitive because we don't follow their rules. Perhaps it's time to show them why rules were meant to be broken. Agreement rippled through the room. The alliance was more than just a military coalition. It was proof that cooperation and diversity bred innovation. Each species brought unique perspectives, unique technologies, unique ways of solving problems. The Dominion believes that progress must be controlled, measured, restricted, Sarah said. We're going to show them that real progress comes from freedom. Freedom to experiment, to collaborate, to challenge the established order. As the meeting concluded and plans were made, Sarah looked around at her unlikely allies. The Dominion had tried to keep them weak by keeping them apart. Instead, they had created the very thing they feared most, a coalition of species who had learned to turn their differences into strengths. The real war was about to begin. Not just a fight for survival, but a battle to prove that true advancement came not from control and restriction, but from cooperation and freedom. The outcasts were about to show the galaxy why diversity and innovation would always triumph over uniformity and stagnation. The combined fleet of the Alliance of Free Species dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Dominion's core systems. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the newly christened AFS Unity, a hybrid vessel that embodied everything their alliance represented. The ship's quantum organic hull pulsed with Veraki biotechnology, while genre gravity wells kept it perfectly balanced in space. Kith neural networks merged with human quantum systems, creating an unprecedented level of control and responsiveness. Dominion Defense Fleet detected, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from her station, now augmented with Kith neural interfaces. They've assembled their entire home guard, over 300 capital ships. Sarah nodded, unsurprised. After their alliance had liberated 3 restricted systems in the past month, the Dominion had finally realized the true threat they faced. This wasn't just a rebellion. It was a fundamental challenge to their entire system of controlled technological development. All ships, Battle Formation Delta, Sarah ordered, begin implementation of Project Synthesis. Across the Alliance fleet, crews of different species worked in perfect harmony, each contributing their unique strengths to the whole. Veraki bioships moved into position, their living hulls already adapting to the local space conditions. Genre vessels created carefully calculated gravity fields, preparing to turn space itself into a weapon. Human ships activated their quantum lattice shields, now enhanced with technology from all their allies. The Dominion fleet approached in perfect formation, their weapons charged. Supreme Commander Vexthor's voice boomed across all frequencies. This rebellion ends here. Surrender now, and your species may yet survive under proper supervision. Sarah opened a channel to respond. You still don't understand, do you? This isn't about survival. It's about freedom. Freedom to develop, to innovate, to cooperate. Something your system of control can never allow. She nodded to Dr. Emma Patil, who initiated Project Synthesis, the culmination of their combined technological innovation. The space between the Alliance ships began to shimmer as multiple fields of force interacted. Human quantum lattices merged with Veraki organic matrices, creating living energy fields that could think and adapt. Genre gravity manipulation shaped these fields, while Kith neural networks coordinated the entire process. What are they doing? Vexthor demanded as his sensors tried to make sense of the phenomenon forming before them. No single technology could create such effects. Exactly, Sarah replied. That's what you never understood. Real innovation comes from combination, from synthesis, from letting different approaches work together. The Alliance fleet began to move as one, their ships linked by fields of living quantum energy. When the Dominion opened fire, their weapons met shields that didn't just block attacks. They absorbed them, adapted to them, learned from them. Each hit made the Alliance's defenses stronger, more responsive, more intelligent. Impossible. Vexthor's voice cracked with disbelief. These technological combinations violate every principle of regulated development. Your principles exist to maintain control, not progress, Sarah countered. She turned to her crew. Initiate counterattack pattern Omega. Show them what true innovation looks like. The Alliance fleet responded as one organism. Veraki bioships released clouds of quantum organic particles that the Genre ships shaped into devastating gravity weapons. Human quantum technology, guided by Kith neural networks, turned these weapons into precision instruments that could target specific systems without destroying entire ships. We don't want to destroy you, Sarah broadcast to the Dominion fleet. We want to show you a better way. Look at what we've achieved together, what any species could achieve if given the freedom to develop naturally. The battle raged on, but it wasn't a battle of destruction. Each Alliance attack demonstrated their superior technology, their perfect integration of different scientific approaches. The Dominion's standardized tactics and regulated technology couldn't adapt fast enough to counter weapons that evolved during the battle itself. Finally, after watching a third of his fleet disabled by weapons he couldn't even properly scan, Vexthor called for a ceasefire. Perhaps we should discuss terms. Sarah smiled. The terms are simple. The Dominion system of technological control ends now. All species deserve the right to develop as they choose, to share knowledge as they see fit, to collaborate with whoever they wish. Such freedom could lead to chaos, Vexthor argued, but his voice lacked conviction. Or it could lead to innovations you never imagined possible, Sarah countered. Look at what we've achieved in just a few months of working together. Imagine what the galaxy could achieve if all species were free to do the same." As negotiations proceeded, Sarah looked around at her diverse crew. Humans working alongside Viraki, Genri operating in perfect sync with Kith interfaces, all of them proving that differences could be strengths when properly combined. The Dominion had spent millennia trying to control technological development, believing that only through strict regulation could they prevent chaos. Instead, they had stifled the very thing that drove true progress: the ability of different minds, different approaches, different species to work together and create something greater than the sum of their parts. This victory wasn't just about proving humanity's worth or defeating a powerful enemy. It was about showing the galaxy a better path forward, one where innovation came not from control and restriction, but from freedom and cooperation. As the Alliance fleet held position around the Dominion capital, Sarah knew they had changed the course of galactic history, not through overwhelming force or superior technology alone, but through the simple yet revolutionary idea that true strength comes from embracing differences and working together. The age of controlled development was over. The age of collaborative innovation had begun. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had helped lead the way.